Hey, good morning, everyone. Prior to our presentation, I'm going to go over just a couple of housekeeping items with everyone. We'll have everyone remain on mute throughout the presentation. If you have any questions regarding the presentations, please use the Q&A button. And any other questions, you may use the chat. We will be sending out a link to the webinar recording in the next day or so, so be on the lookout for that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to today's presenter, Anna Mangum, who is a regional manager with NC State's Industry Expansion Solutions. Anna?
Good morning, all. I just first want to say thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy work days to join us in this conversation and hopefully learn a bit about how NC State is supporting you, your workforce, and our future workforce here in the state of North Carolina. So with that, I'm going to share my screen and go through a presentation with you. I see we've already got a conversation started in chat. If you've got questions, I welcome them throughout the presentation today. So you can raise your hand or you can just put your questions in chat and I'll be glad to answer them as we go through. Okay, pardon my getting started. So first off, as Susan shared, I am a regional manager here at NC State University and Industry Expansion Solutions. For those of you who might be unfamiliar with IES out of NC State, I just want to share a bit about who we are. I'm sure if you were invited to this webinar, then you might have received it through our messaging and marketing via email, or maybe even a colleague sent you a link to join today. But IES is an extension function out of NC State's College of Engineering. And we've been around actually since the 1950s, but our primary mission is to extend the resources of the university out into the state of North Carolina, its citizens, and also to its business community, primarily targeting the manufacturing community here in North Carolina. And really, this program that we're going to discuss today is a strong example of how we do that. But if you're curious about the other solutions and ways in which IES shares talent from the university and our department out into the business community, these are a list of just a fraction of the solutions and the services and the levels of expertise we have to share with you. So if you're interested in any of these topics, or you feel like your business could leverage some of these other types of solutions, then I strongly recommend you connect with either myself or my colleagues on the regional manager team. And you'll see this at the end of the presentation, who your regional manager is. And we will be glad to share more with you and finding solutions to help you in your business. But today is about the Rural Works Internship Program. This is a program that I personally have an incredible amount of passion for. I was asked by a colleague to get involved with it about 5 years ago, and it could not have been a better fit. For those of you who might not know me, I've been with IES now for almost 16 years. And I actually started at IES when I was an intern and a student. And then that rolled into other functions of my career. And I came back and decided to be a colleague of what once was my mentors here at IES. But I strongly believe in the internship experience when you are a student. I think it brings you great influence in the direction of your career and also where you choose to find your passion in life and invest both in yourself and into others using your talent. So Rural Works is a targeted internship program supporting the rural parts of our state. We'll get into that definition in a minute. But Rural Works is based out of what we do at IES, really targeting the engineering student population at NC State University. I want to take a minute and share with you kind of the gravitas of the College of Engineering at NC State. I know some of you might even be alumni from NC State. I am, a lot of my colleagues are, and a lot of our manufacturing clients are as well. But you might not realize how large our College of Engineering is to date. So College of Engineering at NC State is the largest of our colleges. It is almost 8,000 undergraduate students. With that being said, here's a list of what majors and concentrations this group of 8,000 students have. And a good fraction of them come from rural communities. So you can see the makeup here. I think when I first saw these numbers, I was quite surprised, particularly in the level of, interest and study in mechanical engineering, and also in aerospace and chemical. But this is the group and the population that we are looking to help find real world experiences over their summers through internships. So let me show you a little bit about what we've done in years past. This is what Rural Works has impacted over the course of last summer. So just 6 months ago, we had over 90 students from the College of Engineering at NC State placed with businesses in rural North Carolina, literally from the mountains to the coast. And that impacted over 50 different companies in 31 different counties, and you can see where they were located. So obviously 94 engineering interns means some of these companies and some of these counties had more than one by far. I had a manufacturing business in my territory as a regional manager in Sanford, and they hired 4. So you have a large amount of opportunity with this program to not just have the resources of one student that is growing and learning, but possibly more than one. Let's see, we've got a question here in chat. And it's asking, do you have a question? So I'm going to pause there and move on to beyond the impact of this past summer, what is rural? Because you're seeing a very large amount of impact geographically in our state. And you're probably thinking, well, where I'm from, is that rural? And what does rural mean? Well, in the state of North Carolina, rural is defined by a tier system that's based on economics, and it is declared by the state legislature. And so here is the kind of current 2024 tier economic status, mountains to the coast. So you can see the majority of our state, those in gray or those in what I'll say unfavorable blue color, wink, wink, last night's game. This is the representation of the rural counties in our state. So that represents about 85 of our 100 counties. But certain sections of these other counties that are classified as Tier 3 are allowed to be considered rural. For example, one of the counties in which I serve is Johnston County. That is the county just east of Wake. And I'm sure most of you know the shape of Wake County. It's right here. It's where our capital is. But Johnston County is just south, and it is, because of its growing population and also its growing economy, now considered not rural. But nobody who knows North Carolina would ever dare say that Benson in the far eastern section of Johnston County is no longer rural. It is still very rural community, although the county is no longer considered rural. And so we do give a bit of grace in rural sections of non-rural counties. And I know I'm getting into a bit of detail here, but that's important for you to know going into the resources of this program so that you can have in your mind, well, do I qualify for a program like Rural Works? I don't know if I'm rural or not. So let me share with you about a student who served under Rural Works so you can understand a little bit about this internship program and the quality of interns that you might receive if you choose to participate in this program. Now, this is an intern who, her name is Mia. You can see her in the far upper right section of your screen. And Mia is just a dear example. She worked diligently over the course of this past summer in the Sanford area with a company called Barat Forge. And I'll get into a little bit more about who Barat Forge is, but first, let me share a bit more about Mia. For those of you who might be thinking, what can a 19-year-old provide to my business over the course of this upcoming summer? And do I really want an intern? Would that be like babysitting? Absolutely not. That group of 8,000 undergraduates that are part of our College of Engineering are the creme de la creme of their high schools. Academically, these are the students who worked hard, were top of their class. Our College of Engineering is top 25 in the country. We rank just below Duke, Harvard, and Princeton. This is a very difficult program to get into. So Mia proved herself well in high school. She invested not only in her academics, but also in her social and leadership capabilities. She was the local president of the chapter of the National Charity League. She is a swim coach. She played varsity softball. She was a lifeguard, and she ranked top of her class in high school. She was a freshman when she wanted to pursue an internship in industry. So as a freshman, she applied for an internship at Barat Forge as an automation engineering intern. She's a mechanical engineer, so that aligns well, but she's also minoring in graphic design. She's from Cary, and her goal for the summer was to gain hands-on engineering experience. So let me tell you a little bit about what she did when she got to Barat. Barat Forge is, for those of you who might not know, a vastly growing automotive manufacturer in Sanford. They are based in India, which I'm sure you can tell based off their name, but they are a supplier for aluminum forged parts to major OEMs, including Mercedes, Audi, and Ford. Their facility, the first time I went and did a plant tour, I was blown away. Their just massive automated equipment is incredibly impressive and more advanced than some of the other automotive manufacturers that I've seen in my region in the last decade. They truly are top of the class when you're talking about automotive suppliers. And so when they asked if they could get 4 engineering interns from NC State, I knew that they would be a good fit as a host. And so we at the university were glad to see and invest in our students alongside Barat Forge working there over the course of their summer. And so this is a quote that Mia gave to us to use in sharing what she was able to gain out of her work experience there. She worked under leadership in the automation department, and she truly was able to meet her goal in terms of gaining that hands-on learning experience. But she didn't just work on the automation of their facility. She was able to work on multiple projects, plan and project manage over the course of that summer. Mind you, this is a freshman at NC State. She was able to accomplish multiple projects that were comparable in the engineering department. She was able to problem solve, including she saw an issue with incoming quality on their forging line with their raw materials in aluminum. And she knew that she could create a device on the incoming line of their automation equipment and detect when the forging line was going to be backed up with aluminum incoming raw material. She created via a 3D model and then 3D printing, because she already knew how to do and use 3D printers. She was able to create a mechanism that also included electronics, which she programmed and then installed, tested, and proved valuable on their incoming raw material line. So this is the device in which she created and then installed. And she, you can imagine, impressed not only her mentor, but others in that facility with this project. And you can see it kind of functioning there on the bottom left-hand screen. It automatically shuts down their incoming raw materials if it is seeing backup based on the digital piece of electronics that she was able to create there. And this is what Daniel, her mentor for the summer, had to share. Now, I'm going to allow you to read this, and I'm going to pause my presentation for a moment. I ask for those of you who are listening in, please read every part of his quote. It is incredibly impactful and shows, as a practicing engineer, what his thoughts are on hiring this student and the impact it had on his department. So hopefully you had time to read all of Daniel's statement. I asked Daniel, after he provided this to us, if he would do the calculation on the impact economically that this provides to Bharat Forge over the course of the year. And we did a calculation, and he estimates that the work that just Mia provided with this one of her 3 projects calculated a savings of over $250,000 per year. I think that's pretty doggone impressive for a 19-year-old. So now let's think about how you can get involved in a program like this and what your responsibilities would be as an employer. Well, the reason that we support out of NC State a program like Rural Works is because we, as a land-grant university, want to provide our resources mountains to the coast. And our dean for undergraduates, Dean Jerome Lavelle, has set aside a portion of his budget to offset the cost for these students coming to work in rural locations. We are incentivizing these students to come and work for rural companies because we see the need in rural companies and their workforce, as well as seeing the need in our students in wanting to gain experience like Mia did. And so our goal is to staff over 120 students in your rural businesses over the course of this next summer. With that being said, if you, the employer, are willing to invest $15 an hour, which we think is a fair paying wage for an intern, we will match that with $10 an hour on our end. Therefore, incentivizing these young students to take positions in rural areas over potentially equal, if not maybe even higher paying wages in areas like the Research Triangle or even Charlotte. If we're guaranteeing them $25 an hour for a learning experience and a job in a rural location, that's going to perk their ears up, and they might even be willing to relocate for the summer to come and work for you. Now, additionally, we have partnered with other economic forces like the Biotechnology Center out of RTP that supports the life sciences industry in our state. And we are partnering with them so they sponsor up to $4,000 additional to our stipend to help those in the life science industry hiring young student engineers across our state. Now, there's a caveat here. That's $4,000 per facility, and the deadline for application against that funding, just the bioscience or the life science industry, is actually tomorrow. And if you are interested in that and you fit into that category, I'm going to tell you at the end of the presentation who you can get in contact with in order to jump on that additional set of funds. But $15 an hour for a labor rate right now is really reasonable, especially for someone who is top of their class in high school, eager to learn and willing to give and contribute to you so that they can gain their hands-on learning experience and bring it back to their educational experience. $15 an hour is, for a lot of the communities in which I serve, below the average pay rate that incoming workforce and adults are getting paid. And, you're getting hungry workers. I've had companies hire some of these interns over the course of summers, year over year, and that resulted in full-time job offers. You as an employer can see this program as a recruiting tool for building and maybe even seeing this 3-month internship over the summer as a long-term interview opportunity for you. Look at it from an HR perspective. You're building your young pipeline. You're also getting your reputation out to the young workforce at NC State. I mean, I have stayed in contact with a lot of the interns that served in my region, and they still stay in contact with me and spread the word across their peers about how great their learning experience was over the summer. I had one company in the Sanford area, Edelbrock, who had 2 interns this past summer. And those 2 interns were so enthused when they went back to campus, they spread the word around the clubs that they were involved in engineering. Now, Edelbrock, wanting more interns this upcoming summer, has 41 applications for engineers wanting to work there. 41. These students are now hungry to work at this company because they heard from their peers who interned there. There is no better marketing tool than word of mouth. That being said, these students, they're wise. They are applying for jobs for this upcoming summer now. That's why we're having this internship webinar in January. Now is the time to sign up. Get your description for an intern posted on NC State's platforms. Start recruiting now. On average, the 30 manufacturers that we have across rural communities that have posted their job descriptions now, on average, they have 14 applications already, students hungry to work for them. Some of these companies have already interviewed and presented job offers. One student intern called me yesterday so excited that he accepted a job offer at one of his top priority companies. And, and he was actually one of the 2 that worked at Edelbrock. He's so enthused and, wanted to share back the success that another round of RuralWorks is going to bring to him in his future career. Now is the time to sign up. Now is the time to get involved. And now is the time to be thinking about your future workforce in engineering. So how do you do this?
Anna, we have a couple of questions. One is asking, how long is the summer internship?
That's a wonderful question. So the RuralWorks range of time investment from a student could be anywhere from 10 to 12 weeks. And sometimes companies extend it beyond 12 weeks and choose to pay beyond the NC State stipend at the 12-week cap. But that's typical for any college intern is about 12 weeks.
And we also have a couple of folks with hands up. So I'm going to, Matthew, if you have a question you want to ask, I'm going to allow you to talk. So you can ask now. Matthew, did you still have a question?
Matthew, I think you're on mute. Okay, I see another question in Q&A, and that's from Kit Butler. Hi, Kit Butler. It's good to hear from you. I'm glad you could join today. So this is only for summers. However, you asked a question about the NC State co-op office and if they get involved. So actually, we have a strong relationship with the co-op office. This is all in partnership with Career Development Center at NC State. And actually, my one of the other leaders of the Rural Works program, his name is Sam Sanger. He works in the Career Development Office, and we also interact with his counterpart running all co-ops for engineers. And we actually do partner with the co-op office. So other companies like Alltech up in the northern section of the Piedmont, they actually leverage their co-ops to roll into Rural Works internships, therefore keeping those students employed over the course of the summer. So they'll work for, let's say, the spring semester as a co-op, and then they'll roll directly into a Rural Works internship, and therefore they still have that skilled trained labor working for them, but at a subsidized cost. And then we've got a question here about hours per week, and this is from Brian. And this, yes, so this would be 40 hours a week expectation of labor invested in how you structure the internship. Now, a question from Steve Hall. Are most of the candidates interested in these roles rising sophomores? No, not at all. These are everything from rising sophomores all the way to seniors. So I've had students, like one of the ones I've referenced just a few minutes ago that called yesterday because he accepted another Rural Works internship. He's actually degreed in mechanical engineering and aerospace engineering, and that's typically a 5-year program. He's a senior right now, rolling into his 5th year, and he's taking a Rural Works position. And now we've got another question. Can we hire these colleagues through our temporary agency? Absolutely. We've had several different scenarios of how you structure and hire, but sometimes it is easier for you guys as employers to just put them on your temporary agency. You know, obviously we're not expecting you to give them benefits. So yes, they are considered as your employees. We are just paying them our stipend 100% upfront in the summer so that they are more financially encouraged and you are more attractive for them to go work for. This question is from Patrick. If you aren't in a rural area, we're in Mecklenburg County, we don't participate. Your students cannot qualify for Rural Works if you are in Mecklenburg County. However, that does not mean that you can't recruit students at NC State and the College of Engineering. Just know that your competition in some of your surrounding counties will be guaranteeing these students $25 an hour. So you can definitely hire NC State students and College of Engineering students, and our regional managers would be glad to help you get started and how that process works. Just know that the other students around the area are expecting $25 an hour. How do we go about confirming our status as rural if we are located in a Tier 3 county? Great question. This is from Christy Nelson. Christy, if you are in a Tier 3 county, then you should reach out to your regional manager, and those are on the screen right now. Reach out to your corresponding regional manager and get them to answer the question for you. And if there is any doubt, they will do the homework and identify whether or not you are in a rural area of a Tier 3 county that the dean can recognize and give discretion for. Okay, this next question is from Sarah. How do employers manage housing for interns? If an intern is based in Raleigh and is offered an internship in Wilmington, how do they arrange housing? It's challenging in this area. I can only imagine. So you are not held responsible for giving housing to these students. However, in some counties, it is a lot more difficult to find temporary housing than others. So we ask that you provide assistance in terms of giving direction. So if, let's say, you're around the Wilmington area, maybe you are aware of an apartment building, or you are aware of a hotel that gives long-term stay. We just ask that you provide them assistance because keep in mind, okay, so here's another fact that I didn't mention before. You know, I gave you the stats on our College of Engineering students, which ones, what percentage or the number are from rural areas and which ones aren't. But it's about a 50-50 split of the students that are participating in rural works. About half of them are from or grew up in rural counties, and the other aren't. And so I love that dynamic because about half of them are going back to work in their home counties, and the other half, we're teaching them what rural lifestyle looks like and getting them comfortable with taking jobs in workforce that aren't in places that they might be familiar with. So we just ask that you give them assistance and guidance on where they could potentially live. Next question here is from Haley. Is 40-hour work week required, or could it be between 30 and 35 hours? You know, I've never had that question asked before. I think we have to go back to looking at 30 to 35 hours over what course of how many hour investment in how many weeks you want to have them hired. If I had to guess, if we're looking at 30 hours a week and it's over the course of 12 weeks, if it kind of shakes out to be somewhere around a 10-hour equivalent of a 40-hour work week, we can look at it from that dynamic in terms of what we at the university will match that student up front in their summer. Okay, another question from Victoria. What is the time frame to secure an intern through the program? Are most locked in by the end of February to start in May? Awesome question, Victoria. So the deadline for hire, that means you've done your recruiting, you've done your interviewing, and you've put in an offer letter. The student has signed and accepted the offer letter. The deadline for hire is April 15th. But you got to think about it now. I mentioned before, we've already got 50 positions that students have already, on average, got 14 applications against now, and this is January. Like, some of these kids were applying for internships in October and November for the upcoming summer. Again, these are aggressive, talented kids. They know the job market. They are looking for the best of the best. I urge you to get involved sooner rather than later, but you got to hire them and turn in the paperwork on you've hired them by April 15th. All right, next question, Andrew Shepard. How many weeks of employment? Assume program is June, mid-August. So, you know, it's up to you on when and negotiate like you would any normal employee, employer to employee relationship, when they start and when they end. But most of these students want, you know, a little bit of grace post their last exam in, you know, the end of spring semester into when the fall semester starts. So most of them do start in like early June and go to like the first week of August. But I mean, that's up for you and the student to negotiate together. Next question. What are the set dates that define when the summer begins and ends? Okay, I feel like I've already answered that. Are these students employed, eligible, permanently? Okay, sorry. Some stuff's jumping around. Eligible permanently, or are they here on student visas? Great question. In order for the student to participate in rural works on the student end, there are some parameters. So no student on a student visa can get into the program. And that's because we at the university are also giving them pay, and there's some restrictions there because we're using state funds. So they have to be U.S. citizens. And second, all rural work students that get this stipend, they know when they apply against these jobs, they have to have a 3.0 GPA. So again, these are the best of the best. The kinds of students that will be applying, and again, on average right now, we're ranking 14 applicants for every job that y'all post. They have to have a 3.0. Next question. Is there a program for graduate students ready for full-time positions? Not like RuralWorks, where the university is incentivizing them to, with our stipend to work in rural areas, but there are plenty of resources where you can leverage in recruiting graduate students into full-time positions. And one of those is our EPAC portal. Another is our engineering career fair, which we typically have one a semester, one that's typically in September, and one that's typically in February. And industry can pay to be a part of their engineering career fairs. For those of you who are manufacturers, there is also another career fair. We host it every October. This upcoming October, it's invite only, and we typically cap it around 50 employers. And that is an exclusive career fair just for manufacturers. And so if you're interested in that, contact your regional manager on the screen. Next question. Are other majors outside engineering available to be hired through RuralWorks program? Absolutely. But they do not get the stipend like the engineering students do. So you must pay them $15 an hour, but that's not going to be matched with university funds. However, we had manufacturers this past summer that hired through RuralWorks and they got one engineering student. It was Butterfield Candy, which if you haven't tried their product, like, I feel like I'm getting ready to do a commercial, but I keep it on my desk. It is awesome. Butterfield Candy manufactured in Eastern North Carolina, and they had one engineering student and one marketing student, and she adored them both. And I mean, they did a phenomenal job. But if you haven't tasted Butterfield Candy made in North Carolina, like, delicious. Do they apply as far as Pitt County? So I have to go back and check. I'm pretty sure Pitt County is considered rural. And yes, I mean, we literally have some of the most rural locations, like Transylvania County, or like up in like Martin County, and these students are wanting to work and live in these areas. So yes, Pitt County, absolutely. If we need interns now, can we start during the semester? That is hard. You know, if you want an intern now, the university is not going to give the subsidy now. But, you know, if you're looking for a project that you're wanting student labor for, we also out of IES have programs that do that. And we can arrange that for you. Just contact your regional manager. Sorry, but could you please repeat the answer about if you can hire through a temp agency? Yes, you can hire through a temp agency. Are there opportunities for partnerships with other universities along the line of satellites? Love from Joe University. So the RuralWorks program, you know, we are exclusively using NC State students. However, there are other programs at other universities working with industry in placing their students in internship jobs. So you'd have to connect with those other universities and see what programs they have to offer. Next question. Could you share the link where we can post the job and can have an intern in Raleigh? So the answer to that is, if you are in Raleigh and you want an intern, your primary point of contact is Robert Crew, listed on this slide. So make note, all of you that are on this call and you are interested in the program, make note of where you are located and the corresponding regional manager. They know how to get you posted and write the job descriptions. They've got example job descriptions, and they can give you guidance step by step on how to sign up for the program and where to post. So the question about the link for creating something in Raleigh, even though it doesn't qualify as RuralWorks, call or email Robert Crew. Next question. Can we get a copy of this meeting to share with other members of our company? Absolutely. This is also being recorded, so we will be glad to share that with you after the webinar is complete. Any other questions? Y'all have had great questions. Do we post the internship on Handshake or a different site? NC State does not use Handshake. We use something called the EPAC portal. But again, that is something that your local regional manager can walk you through. Next question, is Guilford County considered rural? If not, do the students still receive a stipend of $10? Shockingly, Guilford County, as considered by state legislature for the year of 2024, is considered rural. So yes, that counts. And your primary point of contact should be Cammie Baggett. So take note of Cammie's phone number and email address. Contact her. She'll walk you through how to sign up for the program. Next question from Mark Howard. Can we hire an intern to work with the Nonwovens Institute on a project? Yes, and you'll have to remind me, because I know of the Nonwovens Institute on campus, but if you have another location for the Nonwovens Institute and a project will majority be in a rural area, then yes, the program stipend could be eligible. How about Union County? Is it considered rural? Interesting question. I had this conversation just yesterday about Union County. Was speaking to the county economic developer. And unfortunately, no, Union County, because of its growth in recent years, is no longer considered rural. However, I do know some of the companies in Union County are recruiting and successfully hiring interns out of the College of Engineering at NC State. You just have to pay the competitive wage rate, which again, depending on the student education level and level of experience, be mindful, be prepared to pay them, at over $20 an hour. If we've posted for this internship from a previous email already, should we have received contact from someone, or will we be contacted soon? Corin, I'm not sure of your particular circumstance, so I'd be glad to talk to you individually after this webinar is over. Make note of my phone number and email address, and let's connect after the webinar so that I can walk through more clearly what you need. Next question. Since everyone is asking, is Randolph County considered rural? You'll have to forgive me. I'm going to walk back up to the rural versus non-rural tier slide so that y'all can have a clearer picture of the tier system. And I realize this slide does not have the names of these counties listed. It's the shape of these counties, so it's assuming that you know the shape of your county. I never in a million years thought that my 7th grade social science class would be so valuable when we had to memorize all 100 counties. Let's see. Randolph County is just south of Greensboro, so yes, that is rural. All right. Let's go back to Q&A. Okay, so Angela, hopefully I've answered your question. Randolph County is rural. Next question. With us being part of Mecklenburg County in Huntersville, would this program not work for us in the stipend? Again, Mecklenburg County, we have typically not given grace in Mecklenburg County to consider you rural. Craven County, now that is a potential for, like, depending on where you are in Craven County, there is a potential for argument there. So I encourage you to contact Alex Easley is your regional manager. So I'm going to scroll back to the regional manager contact page. Make note of Alex Easley's phone number and email address. This is who you need to contact, and we can make an argument in Craven County because they just transitioned from rural or to non-rural this year. There are definitely sections of Carteret County that would qualify. Okay, next question is about Alamance. Again, when this presentation is shared back with y'all, look at Alamance County. We'll also have the links, or you I think Alamance, and forgive me because I do not have all the county shapes memorized. I think Alamance County is covered by my peer, Mary Tillery. Look at the colors on this map and your county outline and contact your local regional manager. They have the link to be able to tell you yes or no on rural versus non-rural. Next question is coming from Kevin Whitehead. Do the construction management students qualify? If they are a civil and construction engineering student, yes. And non-manufacturers can get into this program. We just heavily concentrate on the manufacturing community. Next question from Karen. How much is the program stipend and the frequency of the stipend? Is Davidson County considered? Again, contact your regional manager on rural versus non-rural for Davidson County. And again, the financial model, you as the employer pay like you would any other temporary employee, and you have to pay them $15 an hour. We at the university will pay a large sum up front at the start of the summer to that student, matching up to $10 an hour for their expected employment length working for you. So when the reason we pay it up front, by the way, is so that if they need to relocate, they have the financials to do so. And again, they are incentivized, and they'll also have, enough money to commute and, do other activities over the course of their summer. That's why we pay it 100% upfront. Next question from Nathan. To make everyone's life simpler, perhaps a list can be provided about the counties in the rural type. Yes, I agree with you, Nathan. However, there are 100 counties in our state, and that would be quite a long spreadsheet. So that's why I have paused on this slide here with the regional managers listed. Contact your regional manager. I am directing you to your regional managers. They are the experts and your resource back to the university. These are the individuals that you should go to for any resource connected to the university in your local community. These folks live in your local community. They've worked for the university for years. They know how to support you with university resources. All right, let's see. We've got some other comments here in the chat section. I feel like we've answered a good bit of them about posting and instruction. Your regional manager will hand walk you through how to do that. Okay, it looks like we've answered a good bit of these. We have one here on a textile machine development project and production manufacturing in Cleveland County. If the student is working in Cleveland County for the majority of the time in which they are employed, you can get support through Rural Works. And textile engineering students have in the past also been provided the subsidy. So not just the engineering majors that I listed at the beginning, but also college and textile engineers that are not typical College of Engineering students. And it looks like our marketing manager, Lori Blue, has also posted the link in the chat box on where you can get the recording of this webinar. Forsyth County, again, that is considered rural. There we go. Okay, I think that we have answered all questions. Y'all have done an awesome job at, getting interactive. I very much appreciate your questions and your enthusiasm. To me, this reflects that you are interested in the program and that you are wanting to learn more. Again, I encourage you to contact your local regional manager. We are very passionate about this program. We have set a goal for staffing over 120 engineering students in your communities statewide. We want these creme de la creme students in engineering to know what it's like to work for folks like you. We want them to gain their learning experience in industry for their summers and then bring back that learning experience to the university. It brings us pride and joy to see them at work for you, learning in the field. And I mean, I hope that all of you get a chance to recruit and hire. It truly is a joy to see them learning and bringing you value, and even bigger joy to see some of them get hired by you post graduation. So it's really a phenomenal program to get to watch you guys take advantage of, and also these students grow and learn from. So Wanda, it looks like you're asking one more question. I do not see the link. If you want the link, look in the webinar chat function, not Q&A. All right, with that being said, I feel like we've gone through the questions. Oh, wait, there's more coming in. Question from David. Can we pay more than $15 an hour? No, you cannot. If you pay more than $15 an hour, then we will pay $9 as a match. It does not, you can pay more than $25 an hour, but if you pay 16, we will pay 9. And I just don't like getting into all of those circumstances. So you pay 15, we will pay 10. The student caps out at a $25 an hour wage.
Anna, we did have a couple of folks sharing the tier rankings PDF link, but I don't think that was going to everyone. So I have copied that and put it in the chat, and I'll mark it to go out to everyone, as well as Lori's link. So hopefully you can see that in the chat now, folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Susan. And one more plug. In addition to the Rural Works program, please keep in mind, if you are looking to recruit NC State student engineers, whether it be for the short term or the long term, remember, we've got 3 career fairs you can get involved in. One is coming up in the next couple months, and it's the Engineering Career Fair for the spring. The second is the Engineering Career Fair for the fall. That's in September. And third is the Manufacturing Career Fair, majority attended by the engineering students. That's in October. And it's invite only. This is an exclusive career fair, so you would potentially get more attention at this one than you would the major engineering career fair that we host twice a year. That Manufacturing Career Fair, if you want an invite, contact your regional manager. And the cost to attend that one is lower than going to the Engineering Career Fair in September or in the spring. All right, with that being said, again, thank you all so much for your level of participation, and also for joining us and taking time out of y'all's busy days to join us. I could not be more excited about your level of engagement and potential sign up for the program. I hope that you do contact your regional manager and that you get involved with us and get involved with these students. With that, thank you so much, and I'll pass it back over to Susan.
Anna, thank you so much. Great presentation. Thank you all for joining us today. There will be an email recap coming out. It will probably be going out tomorrow. That will come from the IES Zoom user account, so be on the lookout for that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to your regional managers. I'll include a link to them as well in the email, and you will get the recording and the PowerPoint. So again, I thank you, and we hope to see you at a future webinar, or please join us at our annual MFGCon conference, which is scheduled for May 13th and 14th in Durham. So thank you all. Hope everyone has a great day.